Welcome to Thrones and Scones. It's your weekday morning podcast where we chat Game of Thrones over some delicious breakfast. It's Tony, Hans, and Jeremy in with you on this Tuesday, hitting Season 3, Episode 2, Dark Wings, Dark Words, and banana bread?
Yeah.
Yes.
Is that what it is? Is it banana bread? I couldn't decide if I thought it was banana nut bread.
No.
Ruin the beauty of banana bread with terrible crunchy nuts.
This is probably the least excited I've been for scone talk today. Banana.
I can't wait.
Just to clarify, it's banana bread scone, not
Right.
just banana bread.
Which,
Also, breakfast food, yeah.
We can talk about having a whole podcast about banana bread.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Period. A whole series of podcasts.
Jesus.
But for the time being, we'll stick to scones and, of course, Thrones. Would you guys like to hear a little, very brief recap for episode 2?
I would love that.
Yeah, lay it on me.
I shall give it to you. Sansa says too much, unlike this wiki. Shay asks Tyrion for a favor. Jaime finds a way to pass the time, and Arya runs into the Brotherhood without banners. Bum, bum, bum. Cool. I would like to open up and say, holy puberty, Bran Stark. Yeah, you can definitely tell there was some off time in between filming for Isaac. Looks like a different character. Are you guys okay? Can you not hear me? Can you not hear me? You can't hear me?
We can hear you now.
It's back now. It's just like it was going super slow. and
It
then
was
all of a
like
sudden
Star
sped up.
Wars slow.
Weird. Okay.
You're good now.
What, did you hear everything?
I heard you. I heard it. It was just in slow motion until the very end, and then all of a sudden it was just like hyper speed.
So half the time I'm just like laughing because you're like, bum, bum, bum.
Yeah, then it was like, holy puberty.
Birdie. It was like,
And then it sped up, and then it was hee. Like,
That's pretty much how I left it. Oh my god, do you guys remember this bit? Oh, okay. Well, it's early morning for Skype as well, I suppose, today.
holy shit.
It's okay. Yeah, anyway, were you guys able to recognize Bran okay? I know he looks very different.
yeah. Still has just the dorkiest haircut, but yeah.
There are not very many barbers when you're on the lam in the northern Westeros.
Understandable. And maybe that's what they're just trying to be accurate. They're saying, oh, we can't cut his hair out here. They're kind of on the run. They don't have time for that. And that's fine. But I wonder if they regret their choice of their original haircut then. Because it's pretty bad.
Bran does get a couple additions to his motley crew. We meet Jojen and Mira Reed in this episode. Of course, I never ever will call him Jojen for the rest of time. I will only call him Ferb. As fun fact, he's the voice of Ferb in Phineas and Ferb.
That is a fun fact.
It's a very similar show. I think the crossover of watchers of Game of Thrones and Phineas and Ferb. It's a pretty solid Venn diagram. It's pretty big.
Yeah.
Mira's kind of a badass, has no problem kind of like being like dedicated. Did you spill coffee on yourself?
I spilled tea, and so I'm in my pajamas still. I spilled tea. It went through the little Y front of my pajamas and just directly on to my dick.
see, when you don't wear pajamas, you really are careful around hot liquids.
Yeah, this is. I mean, you could have just audio only'd into this interview today, but thanks for that, Jeremy.
Yep, here for you. Anyway, so we meet Jojen and Mira. Mira is, with the whole OSHA. By the way, why didn't she take weapons with her? Right? Like,
Who?
OSHA, when they left, when they got out of there, when like the city was burning and everything, why didn't she take like a weapon? There was got to be weapons everywhere, yet she decides to make a spear.
Why do I feel like they did take swords? I feel like they might have taken swords.
I can't remember.
I think she may be making a spear for hunting or something.
Oh, was that it? Oh,
But I'm not certain about that. I feel like I can see them leaving Winterfell with swords, but
because I mean they have a little cart, for Bran and just gonna push us along. Bran, and then the whole. Come on now. The whole Mira with the sneaky attack. It's a cool scene. I mean, now we're starting to see more about, or we're going to develop that whole storyline with his sight and everything.
yes.
He's like, you mean there are others out there like me? This is weird.
He's growing up. He's growing up just in time for his teen drama phase, and it's pretty perfectly timed here.
You see three-eyed Starks as well?
So, speaking of this Jojen character, I think
Ferb, if you please.
the actor looks super familiar. What else is he in?
He is in Maze Runner. If you've seen Maze Runner,
Have
No.
he is in. Let me look him up.
Yeah, I'd be interested to know because I just can't place it, but he looks.
He's older
Super
than.
familiar.
His name is Thomas Brody Sangster. Let me go ahead and Google's IMDb here. So first of all, he's 20. Oh, that's not old. He's 28.
So he would have been like what, 22, 23 in the show?
Here in season 3, which is 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah, so 22, 23.
Oh shit! Yeah, that's how math works. Damn.
Subtraction.
Yeah, so he's been in the Maze Runner movies. He's been in Love Actually.
That's where we recognize him from.
Yeah.
Love Actually, he's the drummer, right? The kid, the drums.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, he's also in The Force Awakens. Actually,
Really?
just for a moment.
Stormtrooper.
He has a speaking line. I think it's when Finn and Rey are escaping, or Finn and Poe are escaping in a TIE fighter, and a guy turns back and says, "Problems in hangar, blah blah blah," and then it explodes. That's who he is.
I figured he said something along the lines of
No. But yeah, he's been in some stuff. Thomas. What do you guys think of Jojen and Mira? I like Jojen as a character. I want to like Mira. I never really get around to enjoying her character as much as I want to, though.
I think they're pretty good. I'm actually just not. I know you're a big fan of Bran, Tony.
Big Bran fan.
I'm just not a fan of the Bran. I don't think
Well-
that storyline really does much for me.
Tell you what, you get your brand consumption increases with age, truly, and
You really start to get
You
appreciation.
really start to
appreciation for
appreciate it. Yep. You
yeah,
really
you'll
do.
come around. You'll come around.
Just adds to a better lifestyle.
Absolutely. Well, what were some? This is a crazy episode. I don't think anything like
Nothing
ground
crazy
shattering
happens in this one, yeah.
happens, but
No.
it's one of those where it's like from start to finish, every place we go, I'm sold. Like I'm into the story.
Yeah.
I really liked this episode. What were some of your guys' least favorite bits?
Jeremy?
So for me, the whole Sansa thing in this episode really stands out. With Shay kind of really like watching out for her with the whole with when she meets Lady Tyrell. That whole uncomfortable brunch or breakfast scene where they're like, no, you can trust us as we plan on stabbing you in the back. I like that. It's believable to me. She's been playing this whole, or she's been saying it over and over and over again. He is my king, my love, my one true, all those things. And now she no longer has to do that anymore. And she's like, well, I mean, the guy's a fucking psychopath. And now you want to marry him? Like, you want me to tell you that? Like, how don't you already know that kind of thing? I enjoyed that a lot. Least favorite, or wait, why don't you guys go ahead and tell me some of your favorites, and then we'll go to that. Yeah.
Well, just on the Sansa thing, real quick. It did bother me a little bit that she's become very careful. Like she's gotten herself very guarded, and it took her all of 30 seconds to spill the beans to Olenna and Marjorie. But I also did make a note that I really do like Sansa in this episode, in that scene and stuff.
Yeah, I like
as
it.
far as what's going on in her mind, I think it's relayed very well. I think the acting is great, and we've said it before. I don't love Sansa all the time. Her current arc, I think she's killing it.
Well, I think
Again, she's not she's not in a great place, and Sansa wishes she was somewhere else, but I like watching what's happening.
I think the entire time in these episodes, she's always wanted to have a sister, kind of. Don't you get that opinion? Like, where she wants to relate to another female character. I think that's why the whole Shay thing in her is good. Which is why I think she actually tries to relate and talk to Cersei. And then Marjorie and her, she immediately wants to bond. And Marjorie, I think at one point says, yeah, we're sisters. And that's like, oh, yes, finally what I want. So I think that's why when she's in there with Marjorie's mom and everything, she's just like, oh, okay, I can trust you. You can, you're my friend. You're here to kind of make sure I'm okay. So I think that's why it spins so quickly.
It's her grandma, just FYI.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Yeah, and I agree. This is where Sansa finally catches me a bit, where I'm starting to kind of like her character a little bit more in these episodes. But my favorite part is I like the Brotherhood intro. I don't know if we've heard about them before, but we get the actual the Brotherhood intro coming in. We get to see the Brotherhood. They run into Arya, Gendry, Hot Pie. That scene's cool. The arrow trick thing's a little lame, where he shoots the arrow up and whatever. But
by the time I finish,
cool.
it will fall and you'll be dead.
He's not nearly at a steep enough angle when he shoots that.
No,
for
absolutely
that to happen.
No.
But it's cool.
So did we just hear about them? I'm trying to remember. In season 1, did we hear at all about them?
Well, I don't think they really exist until season 2.
Because season 1 is when they're sent off and be created at the end, like episode. Is that when
it's
Ned
it's Ned's and Robert's death that ultimately spawns
them?
creation. Yeah.
Okay. I just don't remember if we hear
haven't-
anything about them kind of following that, hunting down the mountain, right?
Yeah, I don't think we hear much. But yeah, we don't meet everybody yet. Beric and Darian will hold out for another episode or two. Thoros of Myr, though, with we don't get to see any flaming sword that we've heard a couple times throughout the show, but we do get to see him in his drunken glory, hanging out with the stock, bitch, as the Hound so eloquently puts it. Yeah, their time together gets a little extended.
Yeah, were you kind of disappointed that Arya, like, with that whole, oh, I can sword fight, and she gets like literally one repose and it's done? Like it's sad.
It's good though. It's Arya needed to be put in her place a little bit with that.
Well, she got so cocky after
after
the whole Tywin thing. Right?
She did.
Yeah.
She really did. So I liked that, and it's never. I mean, it's easy to kind of forget about because he's just this drunk guy. Thoros of Myr, pretty master swordsman. I was actually, after we were talking about who Jamie was referring to when he says there's 3 people in the kingdoms who might have a chance, I went and read up about what people were thinking, and most of them aligned with what we said. But lots of people were throwing Thoros into the conversation. He ended up winning the melee tournament at the Hands tournament, the one for Ned. Mm-hmm. He was like the MVP, as it were, in the Battle of Pike when they were shutting down that rebellion. So this guy's not to be messed with.
Interesting. They don't really I feel like they don't make that out in the show as much, though. Obviously, especially not really yet.
Yeah,
like we wouldn't have really known to even throw him in when the question was asked. I can't remember if he had even if we had even really heard about I can't remember when I asked that question. But anyway. But even now, like, we haven't really seen much of him.
My least favorite moment of the episode, for sure, is and it's little. Again, for the most part, I'm pretty sold. But it's just the fact that, okay, Catelyn's dad is dead, Lord Hoster Tully. Yeah. Catelyn is beside herself. They are going back to River Run. Mm-hmm. And there's some tactical stuff for this. They want to meet up with Edmure's forces, and they want to consolidate the Riverlands and everything. I get the tactical advantage, but it's also kind of a distraction. And they go so much as to put Lord Karstark sitting next to Robb going, this is a distraction. And he's just like, my grandfather's funeral is not a distraction. And but it really is. It totally is a distraction, and it's a terrible idea. And I just feel like he can send his mom off to treat with kings, and he can send his Bannerman's bastard children off to retake his home, but when his grandpa dies, he has to send his whole army out to the Riverlands here just to go to the funeral, it does seem like a distraction, and it was kind of a glaring thing for me.
Agreed.
Yeah, and I think. Go ahead.
I was just saying that's just was the dumbest part of the episode for sure.
I would say also then this is not really in that topic of in the Riverlands, but I thought probably the dumbest part again remains Joffrey's hard on for his crossbow. I mean, I actually have it as good and bad. Good because it is so awesome when he is in there like, oh, check out this mechanism. It's like he's ejaculating on himself when he's talking about it. And then Marjorie's pretty crafty here. You know, she wants to go hunting with him, wants to kind of like side up to him because he starts to question kind of her side, right? Because isn't that where he's talking about, you know, you didn't get a son with Renly, why not? Yeah. You know, the whole
Well, you see, Your Grace, he once touched my butt star, and you have to imagine that's
and it wasn't comfortable.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, so I was going to make that illegal and murder and kill everyone off. And she's like, oh, no, we can't have that. Because obviously brother Tyrell is going to have a problem with that.
For sure. That's it. I found myself a little beside myself as I marked that down as my favorite part in the episode, because I've never considered anything with Joffrey to be my favorite part in anything. But Marjorie plays the game
very well.
In a very Varys way, where she wants to be underestimated. She wants to go around and she wants people just thinking that she's this doughy-eyed person. And I think what she does have going for her is the fact that she is always on. For every character, she's always, always, always on. She's tickling Joffrey's psychopath bone. At the same time, she's this very sweet person when they're in public, and she's kind of pulling him out of his like castle shadow, as it were. She's on with Sansa, and I have some problems with it in the next couple episodes that I'll address there. But right now, we're seeing a different way to approach this whole Game of Thrones, and Marjorie Tyrell, despite what shouldn't be working, is kind of working for her.
I think it's actually good that you say the way the Varys, because Varys always seems, when he's manipulating, it's very pleasant, right? It's a pleasant approach to things. Littlefinger has no problems getting dirty in how he approaches a lot, which is probably why we tend to detest his actions a little bit more. But I mean, and I'm not sure in the future we'll see some kind of mud or muck, if you will, of Varys's choices as well. But up until now, it's been kind of very reaching out to help. I mean, obviously with Roz as well. So it was good. It was really good. I mean, again, the episode, I totally agree with you. I don't think there's any big, like, do we even have any deaths in this one?
Not that I have listed.
Yeah, I don't remember. I mean, nothing big happens in that regard, but there's enough forward movement in all the stories that you feel satisfied, I think, when you watch this. It was a good episode.
Yeah. Maybe, speaking of that, maybe one of our bonus eps, we'll hit a little segment. Rest in peace, R.I.P.
R.I.P.
We'll recap.
And we'll count down.
Yeah, we'll recap the biggest deaths.
That'd have been
Because
that's good.
I could use a little refresher, too.
Yeah.
And, I mean, season 3 has a couple.
Yeah, and then
So that'll be good.
And to add to what you guys were saying too, I've really enjoyed watching Marjorie's character, especially through the first couple episodes here. I've been tracking it since I said it now, keeping an ear out. We get another Sansa, a hard Sansa.
Ooh, okay.
Shay says Sansa, so pretty much every time she says Sansa, she says Sansa. If that makes
That's
sense.
so weird. I'm just trying to picture her accent. You would think that she would be the person to not do that at all.
Yeah, she's more of a harder tone.
You love her, don't you? You love Sansa Stark.
Sansa.
Yeah, and there's more. Now that I've been keeping an ear out for it, I keep getting you the Sansas. Lady Olenna says Sansa.
Oh yeah, we get introduced to her in this episode.
Yeah.
I don't like her forever, but she's refreshing right now.
She's
good.
refreshing
She's
now,
good.
yeah.
She's-
And I
yeah,
can't believe
she's
we haven't
funny.
talked about Brienne and Jamie, because I think that was still one of my favorite
shit.
parts in the
Yeah.
episode, right? Like, he gets kind of free and goes all badass with a sword, of which, I realize he's been prisoner for God knows how long. I don't remember how long it is in the books
year.
either. Is it a year? Yeah. So he's kind of malnourished and everything. But Brienne makes him her bitch.
Yeah,
She truly does.
definitely.
Dude, she like kicks him in the stomach, punches him a couple times.
I just wrote down Jamie Brienne. Kissing. They have this he's literally schoolyard bullying her, where they're walking around and he's like, "You were sworn to Renly. That man didn't have a right to be king over anything." And she yells at him. He's like, "Oh, you love it." And then he looks back and he goes, "You did."
Oh no! Why no? Did you guys write notes? Did you guys share some? What were those little star notes where you would like play with them with your fingers, like open and close them? Did you guys do those? Little flower and hearts inside?
Oh hell yeah! You gotta get that number 4 where it says you'll see 7 boobs in your life.
7 boobs. Yeah. Yeah, that was
and then
another
at the
really
end,
good part.
they're captured
Yeah.
by some Bolton men.
Yeah, that was
Sure, everything would be good
I was
there.
a little disappointed. I get, like you said, I get that Jamie's debilitated, and everything, but yeah, he just didn't even really put up a fight. Like it was pretty weak.
I mean, that's taken a little bit away from Brienne.
Yeah.
Yeah, Brienne's
She's a
shown that
capable
she's
warrior.
a capable, kind of a
Yes.
badass.
And if we said that one of the people that could beat Jamie was Loras Tyrell, she beat him.
It's true. It's a very good point.
Like a bitch.
Very good point.
She speared him on the ground.
I have a question for you. Catelyn. She's talking about Jon Snow in
Ooh.
this episode, I believe.
Yes.
She says she prayed to all 7 gods. Is that because
Yes.
she is not... I was just wondering why she's praying to all 7 gods and not praying to the old gods as the Starks do. Is she...
just because she's from Riverrun, so
Okay, so
everywhere
that's
basically
kind of-
south of.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
That was my interpretation. Just was curious. Yeah.
What did you guys think about that story? Because it's giving us this lighter moment of Catelyn that I appreciate in the moment, but every time I go back and watch any interaction she has with Jon, I cringe. It's like, bitch, are you even trying?
Well, no.
Yeah.
So then it's a lighter moment, yeah. But even at the end of that story, she says, "And I failed," and basically says, like, "I still hate the guy. I still can't look at him." Yeah. So it's like it was kind of all for naught, but
I like how and she's like, "Yep, and this war is all because I hate my bastard son." Really? Really?
So, bitch, get over yourself.
yeah.
You think you're that important?
The only thing we
That's how it
haven't
works?
talked about that I do want to mention for this episode is so Theon's been captured now. I don't know if we even really mentioned that much about the first episode, and
You're right.
he is getting pretty nasty. Got some things.
Oh god, the
going into
nails,
his foot.
the
got
fingernail
a fucking
thing.
knife
Oh.
in the fingernail. My notes say Theon imprisoned / knife into finger / fuck. And then
yeah, he's a
sorry.
roller coaster with him.
Yeah, it's crazy. And then we get a mystery savior, right? Someone comes up and says, "Your sister sent me." Looks like Theon's. So I think that's good. At least Theon will get out of prison, and we'll get a little see more of his arc, right?
It's looking up for him.
Super positive moments coming his way.
All right.
Can't wait for that. I before we kind of close things out here, I have a little question I want to pose to you guys.
Yeah.
We're kind of looking at Joffrey as this terrible, awful psychopath. He has some very crazed moments in here. But I want you guys to go ahead and throw yourselves into Westeros for a moment. You're you, all right? You're not a different person, except for the fact that you are 14 years old. And you are given the keys to the kingdom. You are made king at 14. How good do you think you would do? Because, and I have a great relationship with them, but I probably would have executed my parents. Don't you think? I'm not trying to defend Joffrey at all, but Could you imagine being a teenage king?
And just for the record, Tony's parents, both parents, absolutely do listen to this podcast.
Yes.
So this just got
know.
real.
Yeah, it's after Christmas. I've been good.
I mean, that's the thing I think was is interesting. He's watching this happen prior. He's watched the game. He's watched his father, if you will, die, and seen the brutality of the world. He watched his city get ransacked or attacked. I mean, the kid's messed up, but I think also, how wouldn't you be a little kind of like squirrely at this point with knowing that you're going to be expected to rule all the kingdoms, right? I mean, like that's what Robert was, right? So I don't know.
I think you're even giving him some credit of adulthood there. Like I recently went back and watched. Have you guys watched this '90s documentary on Netflix?
No.
No.
I think it's CNN that does it or something. They do one for like each decade or something. But it's this awesome docuseries where they go through and they're like, oh, here are the big moments from the 90s and music and in TV and film and in politics and this, that, and the other thing. And I grew up in most of the 90s and remembered so little about it. Like even as an older child, the awareness that you have for things beyond your direct involvement are so limited. And so how much is he really expected to maintain as far as, you know, a sense of gravitas with everything that's going on? And how much is just like, oh, well, here's what I'm seeing right now. Let's do this. Like he's got that great moment with Tywin later on where he's like, you can see him being this young flip-floppy king where he's talking and he's like, what about the Targaryen girl? And he's like, what about her? Shouldn't we do something? It's like, the king has counsel, but I haven't been counsel. Like, you know, he starts whining. But, like, what else do you expect?
And also, he's got a point, though, right? Like, and I gave him a little credit for realizing maybe he is more of a pawn in this situation now with his, with Tywin there, right? He's like, whoa, no. He's like, yeah, I know that, but no one's talking to me. And he's like, oh, I'll make sure you know. And he's like, you can see him fighting. He's like, well, fuck, damn straight, you should let me know. But he's like, wait, you'll probably have me killed if I talk back to you. So I'm just going to be like, yes, that's good. That's what I want. That's what I command of you to do.
Hell yeah.
And Tywin's just like, and you can see him kind of like, well, fuck this dude. And then he very intelligently, as he's walking away, says, your grace. You know, like he still has to play that. And I thought that was good. That actually, I think that was probably more of an interesting scene than the whole bedroom Marjorie crossbow. The whole crossbow fascination. It's just awesome.
Hans.
Yeah.
What that scone do?
First, I'd be a terrible king at 14, as I think most people would. I think it'd just be I was just trying to think of 14-year-old me, trying to think back. I think it would just be. It was just hard. It was just it was hard to get stuff done at that age. You know what I mean? It's just like you know you don't have a lot of skills built up yet. Your time management would be just terrible. Be a lot of people trying to get me out of my room, my bathroom.
Your grace. Nothing. Go away.
I'll be there in a minute. Just give me 5 minutes.
I mean, It was a lot of NHL 2K hits.
Yeah, that too.
I
suppose. Okay, but anyway, getting to the scone. Fantastic.
Really?
Excellent. Best scone yet.
Brownie points with his girlfriend.
Exactly.
All right. Well, if you guys would like to find out more about Scones, more about Thrones, and the nonsense we get up to, you can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Thrones and Scones. Of course, wherever you listen to podcasts, you can listen to us, and we will catch you tomorrow for Season 3, Episode 3. You down with GOT?
Yeah, you know me.
You know me.
You know how they've kind of toned down. They've toned down a lot of characters to make them more realistic and relatable. Like we've already talked about, Tyrion is not as grotesque as he should be. Brienne is much more pleasing to look at than she should be. And Sam, I don't think is as fat as he needs to be for some of the lines to fall. Like we get this scene where he falls down as they're walking above the wall, and Rast comes over and starts harassing him. and he just keeps calling him Piggy, like, oh, Piggy. Like, Rast is like maybe 6 pounds heavier than Sam. But
Come on,
it's
pig.
enough. It's enough, I guess, to call Sam Piggy.
I don't even remember the wall part. Was that very much in this last episode?
We don't see a ton, no.
Okay, yeah.
Well, that's
Because
funny.
isn't Crass? Isn't that the next one's the Crass? I think with my notes, right?
Yes.
Where they get back to Crass.
Yeah, it's funny because Jor Mormont is not a small dude either.
True. No.
He's got some pounds on him.
And Craster's pretty... He's got some chub, and he's throwing all this shit at Sam. Why don't you eat this
You should
one?
eat this one. The fat on him will make a good Tabasco sauce.
That's exactly what he says, yeah.
Yeah,
So yeah.
he loves Tabasco. Everyone above the north loves it. So good, so delicious.
Speaking of Tabasco, I got this
You have a
buffalo
Tabasco scone.
chicken like deli meat, and I'll tell you the story of how I got it. Hang on, so I got scone in my mouth.
Is it boar's head?
Yes.
Yes, it's delicious. Bring it around. Bring it around.
Must pause for scones.
Demon baby, evil demon baby, Marcel.
Okay, so I'm at the grocery store. I'm going to get this. I just thought this was a very funny response. I mean, I'm glad that the dude was honest, but I go to the deli. The boar's head, just regular chicken breast or something, was on sale, and
Sure.
I was like, oh, so I don't get deli meat that often, so I was like, oh, how's the regular chicken breast and the sale one? And he's like, the boar's head, and I'm like, yeah, and he goes, some people like it.
Oh.
And I go, okay. like, do you think I'd be one of those people? He's like, you can try it. And I'm like, well, what would you recommend then? Because I mean, like at that point, it's like I don't want to take the chance. Like at that point,
you're gonna be
right?
a nerd if you order this chicken.
Yeah.
He'll never respect you.
Yeah. So and he said it with just
disdain.
with so much disdain. And then I was like, okay, so what would you recommend? He goes, the buffalo is so much better. I go, okay, I'll try that. And me being, I'm not a big fan of spicy food really to begin with. I can tolerate it, I can handle it, but it's not my everyday meal or anything. And so throws it on the thing, take a bite. It is pretty delicious. It is surprisingly got a little bit of a kick to it though.
Does,
I
yeah.
wasn't
And
expecting.
I am out.
Wasn't expecting that much of a kick, but then the story continues because I have been packing these sandwiches for lunch at work. But then the other day, like I didn't even think about it. I had like a chapped lip, and I just like pulled this huge piece of skin off my lip, which was gross. So then, of course, I got like the basically just like fleshy open part of my lip that's like just tender. And then I take a bite of this buffalo, this like screaming buffalo chicken sandwich, which I had added even more like pepper and stuff too. And just the second I took a bite, I about screamed because that peppery like just got right in that wound. It was very painful. I powered through that. Through that bitch though.
Powder it down.
Now, was this Go ahead.
No, I was saying I just picture this guy when you go up to get it from him, he's sitting there painting his nails black and he's talking to you.
Yeah, was he a teenager?
No, he was like probably early 20s. Yeah, and he just like he basically was like, yeah. I like the painting the nails image in my head, especially in what they're supposed to be having gloves and sterile. But anyway, he's back there. He basically was like, how's the chicken breast? He goes, it's pretty good if you're a pussy.
It's like twirling a knife into his palm, like bleeding. Do you ever want to feel life again?
Was he a teenager?
What? Didn't you ask that already?
Was he
early 20s?
Yes,
Sorry.
I did. I didn't like your answer, so I'm asking again.
No, early 20s.
Was he a teenager?
Sure, yeah.
Thank you. You see, they don't even make good deli employees. How do you expect them to be king?
Oh, yeah, good. Sorry. Should have sent me like a warning text to go along with it.